Ooh, child, these kids be talking me to death. I'm like, please get out so I can record my video. Hey y'all. Is this gonna be a Soul Food Sunday? No. This is a lunar eclipse reading. We got a lunar eclipse coming up on the 27th and 28th of August, depending on what time zone you're in. And yeah, it's not one to ignore. You really gonna want to journal and meditate and sit back and reflect on what's going on around you and within you with this energy, because this particular moon, hold on, turn this heat off, burning up all of a sudden. I guess because I don't know, I ain't even about to try to figure it out, but you definitely gonna want to go within, because it is a full moon in Pisces. Full moons being about releasing. We just had a new moon in, what was that? What time was that? The one we just had in Leo a few weeks ago. And it's all tied together. If you have not seen that solar eclipse reading, check that one out, the one that I posted a couple weeks ago. But yeah, I want to make sure while I got this little break while my kids at lunch to run through my notes with y'all. What? Hold on. See, this is the shit I be talking about. I don't get but like 20 minutes and can't even live my life. Wait a minute. I gotta put my shoes back on. What else you done left?
My glasses.
Yeah, you need them.
Sure.
I heard you say you can't see.
I can't, not that good. What that, that's the point, I don't know why I did with it. I got it on there. Somebody gave it to me. I don't even know why I did with it.
If I see them, I'll let you know.
It's somewhere in my backpack, no never show.
Yeah, keep up with them glasses. You know, mom and them gonna be fussing.
I could have kept them on.
Pretty much.
I guess I put them deep.
Shoot with two pairs.
Yes, ma'am.
You fancy. All right, close that up.
Yes, ma'am.
Baby, a day in the life of Miss C. My God, that's what the kids call me, Miss C. Where was I? I was about to turn to my notes and share with y'all some of the downloads that I've had about this upcoming 2:30. Okay. What you call eclipse. And I don't want to skip nothing, trying to share it with y'all from memory. So the lunar eclipse is going to be the 27th and 28th, depending on your time zone. It's going to be in 4 degrees Pisces. Let me preface this by saying that I am not an astrologer, okay? Like, I dabble enough to understand what's going on with me, what's going on with my birth chart, things like that, but I am not, that's not my area of expertise, I'll say. I know enough to be able to help some people understand their chart, their birth chart or whatever, and to come down here and holler at y'all just off 411 that may be significant to you, as 411 is symbolic of truthful information and communication. And the lunar eclipse may be specific to that energy as well, like honest communication or like authentic expression of self in some way. But it being 4 degrees in Pisces, meaning those of you who have placements in the earlier degrees of Pisces, especially those of you who have, say, a sun sign or a moon sign in the earlier degrees of Pisces, you may want to look into your charts to see how this may affect you. So those of you who are born, say, late February, the late February Pisces, right at the beginning of Pisces season, check your charts. And this Pisces energy represents collective subconscious. So like the subconscious energy that is collectively synonymous, ancestral karma individually, deep emotional waters, releasing generational karma, which is somewhat the same as ancestral karma, but like ancestral karma, the concept of it is like just knowing that it's there and what it is, but the actual releasing of it is a whole another ball game, right? And when I think about this lunar eclipse and its energy, I was channeling the song Cranes in the Sky by Solange Knowles, but I kept wanting to say Weary, which is a whole nother song of hers, and the lyrics mean something a little bit different. So some of you may be feeling weary, especially with all that's going on the world wide web and across the globe, with what's going on with the Haitians and them being deported, and the ankle monitors and ICE still terrorizing the people, and black people being hanged and it being deemed suicide and nobody being held accountable. It's a myriad of things going on. So you may be weary coupled with the things you got going on personally, you know what I'm saying, as an individual. You may be weary, but you don't have to be. And I know that sounds like, girl, what the fuck you mean? How? Ain't nobody choosing this shit. We do have choices. We have choices that can help make our experience better, but oftentimes we choose the opposite of what would create a healthier experience for us. And so this lunar eclipse is very much going to be bringing to light and illuminating some of that for us, how we use distractions and coping mechanisms to avoid healing and doing the actual work to heal ancestral karma, and to dive into our deep emotional waters. Like some of us would rather watch paint peel off a wall than do that. We would rather ice skate with a polar bear butt naked than tap into our deep emotions. But it's what's needed in order to have a healthier life, in order to break generational curses. If you are a generational curse breaker, this message is for you. This moon, this lunar energy, this eclipse is for you, because it's going to be pointing you to where that is a key theme in your life. It's something you need to pay attention to and take serious. Some of y'all are being passed the torch and y'all like, I don't even want it. Get somebody else to do it. And you've refused it one too many times. And so now something is taking place to force it, to make it blatantly clear to you, hey, your ancestors is like, quit playing with me, bruh. Quit playing with me, sir. You the chosen one. You the one that has the capacity to stop this pattern, to get your lineage out of bondage, out of poverty, and to receive these generational gifts. You are the one to inherit it. And we gave you free will. Look what you did with it. So now we about to move the needle, spin the wheel, let the lightning strike, so that there can be a paradigm shift, that you can clearly see where you got us fucked up at and where we've had you fucked up at, so that we can balance these scales. So Cranes in the Sky by Solange Knowles. I need to pull up the lyrics, but one thing that stood out to me is that song is exactly 4 minutes and 11 seconds long. That's 411. The angel number, again, representing truthful communication. Getting the 411, getting information. So for some of you, there may be a revelation that was trying to be in some way hidden from you. And you may be seeing 411 a lot. I'm hearing also that it may have been hidden from you from somebody in the dark, or you've been hiding it from yourself. But whatever it is, it's coming to light with this lunar eclipse. I was pulling up the lyrics to Cranes in the Sky. Oh, I talk too much. I feel like I'm not gonna finish this in time before these kids get back in here. Sky. Lyrics. I tried to drink it away. I tried to put one in the air. I tried to dance it away. I tried to change it with my hair. This is calling out the many ways we lean into escapism, where healthy things just are 11-11. Things that we consider to be healthy, or if we do it in moderation, it's not a problem, are actually forms of escaping our reality, coping instead of healing. Y'all, I got a headache, which tells me there's also some strong crown chakra activation that's going to be, I generally don't get headaches, y'all. If I get a headache, something is wrong. And typically not even wrong, like it's a spiritual activation of some sort or some sign when I get a headache. Either that or I got a head cold, I'm sick type thing, but I don't just randomly get headaches and now all of a sudden I have a headache. And we tend to lean into escapism, like drinking and alcoholism, or smoking weed or whatever you smoke, because that's what put one in the air means. I know that's what I mean when I say it. Or dancing it away, having a good time and being playful and jovial, and this pseudo sense of freedom, just so that we can keep our minds off of what it is that is staring us in the face and requiring our attention, or that we're being led to do, right? But you can't dance it away. I tried to change it with my hair, changing your physical appearance, anything to keep you from doing the thing that would help you to move the needle ancestrally. And for some of you may not have even thought of that thing as something that will move the needle ancestrally. But talk to your people. Think about the stories you already know and what may have kept your people from being able to move forward and change the narrative and do something different or experience life in a new way. And this moon is helping us to see where we have this battle between escapism versus processing collective grief. Not just your grief, but the grief of your tribal unit. And it don't even have to necessarily be your family, even though we are talking about ancestry. It could be the tribal unit where you work, and collective grief. If you work around a bunch of women, there's a collective grief that is common to women and the female experience. If you work around a bunch of men, there's a common grief that is connected to the masculine experience. If you work around children, there's a collective grief around being children, vulnerable in a world where you're not always safe to be. So that's a thing. The lyrics also say, I ran my credit card bill up, thought a new dress would make it better. I tried to work it away, but that just made me even sadder. Going into debt, being victim of capitalism, trying to avoid and distract yourself from what it is that you're being called to do, who it is that you're being called to be. Dang, this thing here now would get on my nerves. These job assignments be coming through while I'm trying to handle stuff. Nope, I am not going to South Haven High. Let me go right back to where I was doing. Yeah, I tried to work it away. All that workaholic, working from sun up to sundown, got to get all the overtime. Distraction. We need balance in our lives. And I, for one, champion prioritize work-life balance. So being in the grind, allowing grind culture to be your choice, your form of escapism. You're gonna be called out on it. I tried to keep myself busy. I ran around circles, think I made myself dizzy. I slept it away. I sexed it away. I read it away. Like, damn, what's wrong with reading a book? But if you're reading to distract yourself from doing what it is that you're being called to do, you in the negative. It's not gonna make it go away. It's only gonna make matters worse. You can't sleep it away. You got to live. We ain't here to sleep all day. Get your sleep, get your rest. Again, you gotta have balance. Definitely can't sex it away. And I am finding that that is something that a lot of people are struggling with. I remember when I was more sexually active in my life, a lot of that shit wasn't based on connection and attraction and chemistry and none of that. I was bored. I was bored. So-and-so was free. We've been kicking it for a minute. Why not? You know what I'm saying? But then once you start to value your energy and your resources, your time, your body more, you get way more particular. I know I've had down through the years, on and off, cycles or periods of celibacy for years at a time. Easily. I got so many other things that I'm passionate about, that I'm interested in. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't kicking my ass like that. Now, there was a point where I thought me and my therapist was talking, and she was like, you know, if you feel like you get emotionally attached more often than not when you have sex, then maybe you should take some time out not to. And I was like, yeah, nah, I got needs, girl. And and I remember going to her a year later and telling her, like, I had been celibate for a year. She was like, what? Not you, miss, I got needs, girl. Like, no, that shit. Especially when you tap in spiritually and take care of your soul care, what your soul needs, and do your work to heal ancestrally, to venerate your ancestors, to look at things as something larger than just what's in front of you in the very moment. That shit just really ain't as important. Now, when I'm in it, I'm on it. You understand me? But other than that, like, I think I have a very healthy sexual appetite, but I do not use it to cope. I don't use it to mask something else that's going on with me that needs my attention. I don't use it to validate myself or anything like that. So we want to take an assessment of our relationship with sex and our sexual creative energy, because that's expensive, that's potent, especially if you take care of yourself and if you value yourself. She says, well, it's like cranes in the sky. Sometimes I don't want to feel those metal clouds. What she's talking about there is how they build these like skyscrapers or these metal frameworks for tall buildings. And when you're drifting and you feel safe enough to just let go and surrender, you don't want to feel, you want to feel the softness of clouds. You want a soft place to land. You don't want to have the discomfort of metal cranes, metal clouds, she's calling them. And I had put in my notes something about the softness. Oh, with the clouds, it's looking for a soft place to land, but choosing the opposite. And that's like going to the store for coconut water, walking past the watermelon, all the fruit, vegetables that could be rich sources of water and hydration for you, and going straight to the case where the berry is. Because something inside of you, be it subconscious or otherwise, doesn't is more focused on covering up, forgetting that you were even dehydrated. So let me take this substance, let me drink this instead of the coconut water, so I can forget that I was even dehydrated in the first place. Y'all, that shit don't help. It's only a temporary high, a temporary fix, and we do that shit with so many things in our lives, our relationships, our careers, the degree programs that we choose, and not just like romantic relationships, our familiar relationships, and how we show up there. We'll do whatever it takes to slap a band-aid on it instead of addressing the shits, instead of getting down to it. You know what I'm saying? Our romantic relationships will settle for the bare minimum in the relationship, knowing we're not fulfilled. You know what I'm saying? Knowing we could and should do better. Got a whole calling to have a family or build an empire or whatever it is that your calling is, but you'd rather have somebody that you can go to the movies with and show up with, somebody nice looking on your arm, very superficial. That's the same thing as what she's talking about here with cranes in the sky, and the coping mechanisms and the distractions that we allow to keep us from moving the needle for our and within our ancestral lineage. And we just worsen the problem when we do that. You're gonna always end up circling back to be able to see. The Lord gonna allow you to have a life review, is what it's called, and see where you went wrong, what you chose over what you should have chose. You always got a choice. And sometimes you ignorant to your choices. Sometimes you don't know. But when you know better, you do better. And if you don't, karma gonna karma. Karma don't skip no blocks, beats, none of that. Karma don't ever get the shit wrong. You hear me? Karma's bullet does not miss its target at all. So we talked about how that shows up, and there's a name for it. Maladaptive choices. Making choices to adapt to the situation as easily as you can. That's how I look at it, taking the easy route. So we got all of that. Again, the cranes are a metaphor for overland noise, or not even the cranes, like the song, the things that she's pointing out in the song that are distractions are metaphors for overlaying noise to avoid dealing with the heaviness of what's in front of you. For some of us, we got love staring us dead in our face, and we would choose lust, we would choose we would choose everything but the love, because of what the love requires of us, how the love requires us to expand. We have careers and degree programs that are calling us to study international business or take this promotion, but because of the responsibility that it requires, we're intimidated and we stay where we at, or we take a lesser position, or we make a lateral move instead of leveling up. That's something to think about. There's some books we want to read, but the vocabulary too hard. We get intimidated as soon as we open up. I don't know what that word means. Put it back down. Like, that shit show up in so many different ways. Working out. That workout look too hard. I ain't fucking with that. I know I'm guilty of that. I can easily get intimidated by a workout where I want to get excited when something looks like a challenge, right? I will say I have been challenging myself a little better with calisthenics lately. Incorporating that into my workout instead of just strength training and cardio. But yeah, it shows up in different ways. So I'm gonna finish sharing with y'all the lyrics of the song, just so you can get more of an example of how this shows up for you. And then I'm gonna let y'all go for these kids coming here and interrupt what I got going on. But know that whatever shows up, however this applies to you, it is happening for you and not to you. It's all for your liberation. It's all to free you from what has held you captive all this time. And not just you, but your lineage. It says, I tried to run it away. Thought then my head be feeling clearer. I traveled 70 states. Thought moving around make me feel better. Again, that exercise, the things that you do to clear your mind, yeah, that's cool temporarily. But you still need to do the thing. You need to run and you need to get that heavy lifting, emotional work done, that ancestral healing done. By whatever means you being led to. And if you don't know how, you need to get with people who do. Stop avoiding your work. This lunar eclipse ain't finna let you. Traveling, that was my form of escapism at one point. And God made sure that I was able to sit my ass down and see where it not only was it a form of escapism, but what I needed to do. Wow. Like what I could and should have been doing prior to or in lieu of traveling in order to escape my circumstance. So nothing wrong with travel. All of these things can be healthy, especially if done in moderation. We talking about when you're doing it to avoid something else that you should be doing. I tried to let go my lover. Thought if I was alone, then maybe I could recover. You getting rid of relationships, friendships, family relationships, and using that as an excuse. Now, I ain't saying nothing wrong with that because that comes with the territory. You cannot be a generational curse breaker and some relationships not dissolve. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen because as you evolving and changing, you will realize that there were some relationships that you got in based on who you were prior to your awakening. And now those that you're evolving into a different person. And so those relationships, a lot of those relationships, they can't go. Everybody can't go forward on the journey with you, and they don't like and they can't align with, they don't have the capacity and a lot of them nor the desire to align with the person you're evolving to be. It is what it is. It hurt like fuck. It does, but it also comes with the territory. Let's see. I tried to let go of my lover. Thought it was if I was alone, then maybe I could recover. To write it away or cry it away, but it's like cranes in the sky. Sometimes I don't want to feel those metal clouds. So that's the whole song, y'all. I hope this message found y'all well. If it did not find you well, I hope that it leaves you well. If this resonated in any way, feel free to inbox or DM or leave your comments down in the comment box. If you're interested in a personal reading, feel free to email me at turquoisemajesty@gmail.com. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, y'all. Peace.